In this video, we will review all the cases of individuals executed in the United States during April 2025. We will analyze their crimes, the trial, the execution, their last words, and their last meal. Welcome to Buried Secrets. Mikal Mahdi, Method of Execution, Firing Squad. In July 2004, over the course of 3 days, Mikal Mahdi embarked on a series of crimes across several states, committing vehicle thefts, armed robberies, and 3 murders. He killed Greg Jones in Brunswick County, Virginia, after a drug deal went wrong. Then on July 15, 2004, he robbed and killed Christopher Jason Boggs, a convenience store employee in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. 2 days later in Collier, South Carolina, he kidnapped a man and stole his vehicle. He fled to a farm in Calhoun County where he murdered James Myers, a 56-year-old off-duty police officer, doused his body in diesel fuel, and attempted to set it on fire. Mahdi was arrested in Florida on July 21, 2004, while driving Myers' stolen truck. After being extradited, he was sentenced to death in 2006 in South Carolina for the murder of Myers. In 2011, he received a life sentence in North Carolina for the murder of Boggs. He was never tried in Virginia for the murder of Greg Jones, though he confessed to the crime while in prison. Mahdi attempted to murder a guard with another inmate in 2009, though the attempt was unsuccessful. Despite multiple appeals, his death sentence was upheld. On April 11, 2025, Mahdi was executed by firing squad at the Broad River Correctional Institution, becoming the second person to be executed by this method in South Carolina and the 5th in the United States since 1976. The firing squad shot at 6:01 p.m. Mahdi groaned and breathed for about 80 seconds before becoming motionless. He was declared dead at 6:05 p.m. Mahdi did not offer any last words. His final meal consisted of a medium-rare ribeye steak, mushroom risotto, broccoli, collard greens, cheesecake, and sweet tea. Mahdi's attorney, David Weiss, who was one of the witnesses to the execution, criticized the act, calling it barbaric and a horrific act that belongs in the darkest chapters of history, not in a civilized society. Mahdi spent 19 years on death row before being executed. Michael Tanzi, Method of Execution, Lethal Injection. In April 2000, Janet Aosta, a worker at the Miami Herald, was reading a book in her truck in the parking lot of her workplace when Michael Tanzi approached her, asked for a cigarette, and then brutally hit her in the face. After the attack, he kidnapped her and took her to the Florida Keys, where he continued to assault her, robbed her, raped her, and ultimately strangled her to death. He then abandoned her body on a remote island, where it was later discovered by authorities. Tanzi pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery. In 2003, a jury unanimously recommended the death penalty. Since then, he filed multiple appeals and motions to overturn his sentence, all of which were denied. Tanzi was executed by lethal injection on April 16, 2025, making it the 3rd execution in Florida that year. The day before his execution, he was offered a final meal which included fried pork bacon, a baked potato, corn, ice cream, a chocolate bar, and soda. His execution was confirmed after a 3-drug cocktail was administered intravenously. Before dying, he was given the chance to make a final statement, to which he responded, "I want to apologize to the family of Janet Aosta and Caroline Holder for taking their lives." He then recited a Bible verse, "Heavenly Father, please do not hold those who don't know what they are doing accountable." He was declared dead at 8 p.m. Michael spent 22 years on death row before being executed. James Osgood, Method of Execution, Lethal Injection. In October 2010, Tracy Lynn Wileman, a 44-year-old mother, was rebuilding her life after a divorce in Clanton, Alabama. James Osgood and his accomplice, Tanya Van Dijke, attacked Wileman in her bedroom, raped her, and forced her to have sex with them. Later, Osgood slit her throat multiple times and stabbed her in the back, ultimately ending her life. They were captured shortly afterward. Tanya Van Dijke was sentenced to life in prison for her involvement in the crime, while James Osgood was sentenced to death. In his confession to the Chilton County Sheriff's Department, Osgood stated that he saw fear in Wileman's eyes, and although he repeatedly injured her, he felt no anger. only the need to end her life. He even claimed to have apologized to the victim during the attack, saying it was nothing personal. During the trial, Senior Assistant District Attorney C.J. Robinson described the crime as a twisted fantasy, pointing out that Osgood enjoyed the act. In a resentencing hearing in 2018, Osgood declared that he firmly believed in the principle of an eye for an eye, and for that reason, he would not appeal, accepting that he deserved to die. Osgood received 11 visits on the day of his death. His last meal before being executed was pizza. In his final words, he addressed the victim, saying, "I apologize." James Osgood died crying. He was executed by lethal injection and was declared dead at 6:35 p.m., becoming the second execution of the year in Alabama and the 14th in the United States. Osgood spent approximately 14 years on death row before being executed. Moises Mendoza, method of execution, lethal injection. Moises Mendoza, 41 years old, was executed on April 24, 2025, for the murder of 20-year-old Rochelle O'Neal Tolson, which took place in March 2004. Mendoza kidnapped the young mother from her home, took her to a field, sexually assaulted her, strangled her, and then stabbed her. He later burned her body and left it in a remote location. Tolson's 5-month-old baby was found alive the following day, but her body was not discovered until 6 days later. Mendoza confessed to the murder, although he denied sexually assaulting the victim, claiming that she left with him willingly. He led investigators to the site where he abandoned the body and provided further evidence that implicated him in the crime. The prosecution demonstrated a growing pattern of violence in his history, including other robberies and assaults. The defense presented witnesses who spoke of his deep depression at the end of his teenage years as a mitigating factor. However, the Collin County Prosecutor's Office argued that Mendoza showed no remorse and even appeared to take pride in his actions. Before his execution, Mendoza offered his last words. "I regret stealing Rel's life," he said, also acknowledging that he had stolen Tolson's daughter's mother. He added, "I'm sorry. I don't know if anything I say or do can make up for it. I want you to know that I'm sincere. I apologize." Then he briefly spoke in Spanish to his wife, his sister, and 2 friends present. "I love you. I'm with you. I'm fine and at peace. You know I'm okay, and it's all love." The victim's daughter was not present for the execution. Mendoza was executed by lethal injection and was declared dead at 6:40 p.m. at the Huntsville State Penitentiary in Texas. Moises Mendoza spent approximately 21 years on death row before being executed. In May 2025, 5 individuals will be executed across different states in the United States. On May 1st, Jeffrey Hutchinson will face his execution in Florida. On May 15th, Glenn Rogers will be executed, also in Florida. On May 20th, Matthew Johnson will be executed in Texas. And the same day, Benjamin Ritchie will be executed in Indiana. Finally, on May 22nd, Oscar Smith will be executed in Tennessee. That concludes the list of those executed in March 2025. Their crimes, final meals, and last words tell complex, tragic stories that still ripple across families and communities. What do you think about the death penalty? Do you believe justice was truly served in these cases? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Buried Secrets, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss more real-life crime stories and execution breakdowns coming soon. It'll only take 3 seconds.